Have you ever felt like your mind is a wild, untamed horse, galloping in 100 different directions at once? You sit down to study, and suddenly you're thinking about that new video game. You try to work, but your phone buzzes, and poof, your focus is gone. If this sounds familiar, then you need to hear the story of Kabir. In a small, quiet village, lived a boy named Kabir. He was sharp, a quick learner, and brimming with curiosity. But Kabir had one major hurdle. He couldn't focus. His mind was a restless bird, flitting from one thought to the next without ever settling down. If he picked up a book, his thoughts would drift to the playground. If he started his homework, his mind would be on his phone. His attempts to study often ended in daydreams about his friends. Kabir's father, seeing this struggle, would often say, "Son, your mind is like a wild horse. If you don't learn to control it, it will drag you in the wrong direction. But if you can discipline it, it will carry you to any destination you desire." Kabir would nod, understanding the words but not their weight. He never truly took the advice to heart. One day, his father decided it was time for a real lesson. To Kabir, to meet a wise teacher known throughout the village as Guruji. It was said that Guruji had a special gift for training young minds, not just in knowledge, but in the powerful art of discipline. When Guruji heard about Kabir's wandering mind, a gentle smile appeared on his face. He didn't give a long lecture. Instead, he handed Kabir a small glass, filled to the very brim with water. "Take this," he said kindly. "Walk around my garden, and make sure not a single drop spills." Kabir thought it was a simple, almost silly task. Holding the glass carefully, he started his walk. The garden was beautiful. Birds chirped sweetly in the trees. The wind rustled the leaves, and in the distance, he could hear the happy laughter of children playing. Slavi. Every time a new sound caught his attention, he would turn his head, and a little bit of water would slosh over the side. By the time he completed the circle and returned to Guruji, the glass was only half full. Guruji looked at the glass, then at Kabir, and asked calmly, "Why did you spill so much?" Kabir let out a sigh of defeat. "I got distracted," he admitted, feeling a bit foolish. Guruji's gaze was kind but firm. He looked Kabir straight in the eyes and said, "This glass represents your goal. The water inside is your focus. And all the sounds and sights you encountered, the birds, the wind, the laughter, those are the distractions of the world. If you don't discipline your mind, if you don't learn to keep your attention steady on your goal, you will lose what's important before you even realize it's gone." Sons. In that moment, something clicked for Kabir. He finally, truly understood. It wasn't just about a glass of water. It was about his life. That day was a turning point. He decided he would no longer be a puppet to his distractions. He started small, knowing that big changes come from small, consistent habits. He began waking up at the same time every single morning, set strict limits on his phone use, putting it away when it was time to focus. He practiced giving his full, undivided attention to one thing at a time, whether he was studying, eating a meal, or even playing with his friends. Guruji also introduced him to a simple but powerful practice: meditation. Every morning, Kabir would sit quietly for just a few minutes. At first, it was a battle. His mind, that wild horse, still wanted to run free, jumping from thought to thought. But he was patient. Every time his mind wandered, he gently brought it back to the present moment, back to his breath, again and again and again. Slowly but surely, the wild horse of his mind began to calm down. It started listening to its rider. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The changes were undeniable. Kabir's memory became sharper. His grades in school soared. He felt a new sense of confidence growing within him. And for the first time in his life, he experienced the deep, profound peace that comes from having a steady, focused mind. He wasn't just learning. He was enjoying the process. About a year later, a prestigious national competition was announced. It was a rigorous test, where students from all over the country had to solve complex problems under immense time pressure. It was the ultimate test of intelligence and focus. Feeling his newfound strength, Kabir decided to participate. On the day of the exam, the hall was filled with tension. The clock started. Many students began to panic. The questions were incredibly tricky, and time was slipping away like sand through their fingers. But Kabir remained calm. He remembered Guruji's lesson. He pictured that glass of water, full to the brim. He kept his focus steady and unshakable. He tackled one question at a time. No panic, no distraction, just pure concentrated effort. When the results were finally announced, a name echoed through the hall. Kabir, he was the winner. The crowd erupted in cheers. His parents, watching from the audience, were overcome with joy and pride. And at the very back of the room, standing quietly, was Guruji, a knowing smile on his face. Kabir had proven something incredibly powerful that day. He'd shown that the discipline of the mind is stronger than raw talent, stronger than luck, and even stronger than intelligence alone. From that day on, Kabir became a legend in his village, known not just for his victory, but as the boy who mastered his mind. People admired him, not just for his success, but for the calm, confidence, and unwavering focus he carried with him everywhere he went. So, what's the lesson here for you and me? If Kabir's story sparked even a tiny flame of motivation within you, don't let it fade away. Your future, the future you dream of, begins the very moment you decide to take control and discipline your mind. You don't have to make a huge, drastic change overnight. Start small, just like Kabir did. Pick one small habit. Maybe it's putting your phone in another room for 1 hour a day. Maybe it's meditating for just 3 minutes each morning. The key is to stay consistent. Soon, you too will begin to see your life transform in ways you never thought possible. Your next chapter, your story of success, begins the day you decide to become the master of your thoughts. Why not let that day be today? Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content to help you build a better life. We'll see you in the next video.